started.
He was running and he gave me one of those water things that you do, you know, the races that you, he like gave it to me while I was, because he was running obviously past me.
Oh, randomly, like on the road?
Yeah, on the road. So we were both running and he gave me one. I was like, oh, thanks, brother. Okay, but I had parts
your
hydration
pack.
But he must have obviously seen that I was exhausted or something.
But I mean, that's also, did you drink it?
No, because I had my what's the names, but I kept it. I was like, oh, thank you. I'll use it another time.
I guess if it's water and it's transparent, you can see it. And
you can see it. Yeah, you can trust it.
Because I was thinking, like, if you get handed some random fluid by a guy on the road, but also he's running, he's in cycling. I mean, in running kit.
He's in running kit as well.
It looks legit. It's not like some random handing you something.
There was I heard of the story. There was a guy who he went to a race and people were running and he had done all like 200, 300 cups. Yeah. And he filled them all with like vodka. And then Oaks ran and they took
I can't think of anything worse.
Imagine. Could not. And also like imagine, you're like 20, 30 Ks in. You know, you're like, oh yes, hydration station, cool, let me get something. And then
vodka.
No, I couldn't think of anything.
What's the one alcohol you would choose? If you're on a run, what's the one thing? I would say a beer.
I would say beer. I don't know why. I think it would feel...
It'll be the best. You don't want hard
No, liquor. You don't want hard liquor. No. Hard liquor would destroy you. No, hard liquor would. Yeah, no, course.
Well, Lucky Du Plessis, bro, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it.
No, listen, it's an honor. Thank you very much for having me. It's good to, chat. How's the studio been treating you?
Yeah, it's going well. Yeah. Enjoying it.
I've been seeing some talks and some interesting people.
Yeah, I'm trying to get people like you. As many people as I can.
Yeah.
So... my first introduction to knowing you was hearing you obviously on 947.
Okay.
With Greg.
Yeah.
Greg and Lucky.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the infancy of your radio career, or how did you even get into radio? What was the journey like?
It was strange. So I was I've always wanted to be on radio, and my old man, a very wise man, may he rest in peace, he said, listen, you have to have a degree. He's like, you got to do a degree, a 3-year degree, and you got to get it, and then you can do whatever you want. So I was like, okay. So I ended up studying advertising, and then I was doing stand-up comedy on the side, and I was getting quite good at it. And then my actually very good friend, but she was my manager at the time. She's like, Lucky, there's a you must go for this like interview at 947. So I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, let me go. And then what had happened was I ended up going like to it, but she's like, yo, you got to be there at 3 in the morning. And I was like, what kind of interviews at 3 in the morning? Ended up going, and it was actually a talent search. There was about 6,000 people, but I got there at 3 in the morning, and there was 8 people. I stood and I was on number 9th, and I got interviewed by my then boss, Zane, who then became my boss, and he interviewed me. Cool, liked it. I did a voice test. They liked it. Cool. They called me back like 2 weeks later, and then like this kind of carried on, and then they kind of teach you the engineering of the desk, which is quite like complex at the time.
Had you had any?
No. So I'd done no knowledge of that. Like I hadn't. Yeah, I wasn't journalist, nothing. So nothing on that side. And then what had happened was It happened for like 6 months. I did this. I would go in, learn the engineering. I would do like, links, or what they call them between songs. It's called a link. And then like they kind of teach you, okay, yo, you say this and this is how you would say that. So they would teach me kind of the radio, 101. And then like that happened for 6 months, and then they just stopped calling. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Obviously it didn't work out, whatever. And then one day I got a call. And it was like, it was Thursday, and then the Friday they're like, Lucky, listen, you're going to be on air tonight, Friday night, so 12 to 4. And Sunday morning, 12 to 4. And I was like, oh. So I went and I did my first show like that. And then what had happened was Greg was doing 4 to 7. And that's how we met. So we he would always take over from me. And we did this for like 9-10 months. And then he started teaching me a lot more about radio. He'd be like, oh no, this is actually how you do this. This is actually how you do that. And I learned a lot more from him than I did from like doing those earlier session stuff. And then we kind of became mates. And then he's like, hey bro, yo, we must definitely do a show together. And then we were both talking about it. And then a week later, that Thursday, my this woman called Amy, who's now my friend, she called me and said, listen, Greg wants to do a show with you. We're going to give you guys the Sunday night slot. And Sunday night, it was 9 to 12. Nobody listens, but Dude, let me tell you something. Greatest, if you want to learn radio, the greatest slot ever, because one, you can play, so you can do whatever you want. But two, no one's listening, so the mistakes are fine, and you can kind of try things. And we did this for about 1.5 years, and it was hard at first because we used to go to like, you know, you'd have your weekend, and then, you know, so most people would like, okay, cool, let me end off with a movie, like an 8 o'clock movie, and then go to bed, you know. So I'd always have to like get up and like trudge, and like, oh. But then when I got there, then it was absolute fun. It was bliss, and it was great. And we did the show, and then I would do work. So I would do Saturday, Sunday show, and then the Sunday night show, and then I would have Monday to Friday I would do advertising as an art director. Okay. So yeah, so that's how we kind of met, and then we started doing Sunday nights, and there's a rule in radio: do not take a break. Like, do not go on holiday, because what happens is somebody fills in for you, and if they're good, they literally take your job. And this guy, he's like, yeah, cool. He went away, and we filled in his slot. So it was 10 to 12. Yeah, 10 to 1 slot. So we did that slot for 2 months because this guy was away. And then he came back. They let him work for like 2 weeks, and they're like, no, we like Greg and Lucky, let's rather keep them. And they brought us back, yeah. Okay. And then we did that for 2 years, and then we did 7 to 10 for 3 years. And then obviously you go up the slots, so then you build your way all the way to, well, we never got to breakfast because Anela was always doing breakfast, but yeah.
But you had the afternoon drive.
Yeah, afternoon drive was the biggest one we had, and we had that for 1.5 years. We were doing quite well, and then we had that incident, which I don't speak of, where they just called us one day and like, hey, sorry, we're bringing in fresh. And I was like, okay, cool, but...
Are there contracts? Obviously, there would be contracts in place, or
yeah,
was it kind of just a breach of contracts?
No. So there are contracts in place. So, but they made a mistake, which is fine. Listen, so radio works like this. It's fine if you bring somebody in, and that's okay. But what you do is with your show. So they call them the drive show. So breakfast is drive, and the drive show, which is drive. Those are the two big shows. Those are you make the most amount of money out of them. So any advertising, anything like that plays on those shows, they make a lot of money out of them. And we were doing well. So we were the only show in 947 at that time that was bringing in listenership and like growing and whatever. And they told us this in a meeting, literally 2 months before, they told us this. They're like, yo, your guys' show is the only show that's growing. People are listening. We like it. Clients, like advertisers, like Huawei was loving us. Like, you know, it was cool. And then what happened is, so if you then lose that slot, then what they must do is they must move you into the next slot, which is daytime. So daytime is 9 to 12 and 12 to 3. Those are the daytime slots. If not that, then I must move you to 7 to 10, which is the next big slot. Not 7 to 10, after drive. So drive will be 3 to 6, so 6 to, yeah. So that's how it works. So they bring you in that. But they didn't think about it. They were so excited to bring in Fresh, and they brought in Fresh, which is fine. So, like, listen, I don't mind. Fresh is a legend. Like, I grew up listening to Fresh, and what an amazing radio DJ. So I was like, but then move us up a slot. Don't take your best show, your second best show, obviously breakfast being the best, your second best show out and bring this in. So the guys that did it didn't think about that. And then, dude, Oaks were like, cool, hey, great, fantastic, Fresh is coming, but where Greg and Lucky going? And then they realized all the backlash, and then they were like, oh, okay, cool, put you on weekends 2 to 4. And let me tell you something, that show broke me. That show was like, I was just oh man, it was a terrible. Like, Greg and I did it for about 1 year, and then I said to him, dude, listen, I'd rather not do radio. And it's not it sounds arrogant in a sense, because it's like, okay, well, would you rather work or not work? And we did it for a year and a bit, but like I said to him, I was like, I just can't. It's demoralizing. It's like, yeah. And well, you know what we should have actually just gone to either our competitors, or we should have gone to another big radio station. That's what we should have done. But at that time, I think when we moved in, it was, so a lot of the radio stations in the country hire new talent in February and some in August, and we were kind of in the middle of that, and so we kind of didn't. We had to wait like 3 months, and then when you're not on air, then it's all in what's that saying, If you
not like in the public eye.
In the public eye. So if you're not in the presence and people don't hear you, listen to you, then
out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. That's the saying. That's the saying. Yeah. So then that happened. Yeah.
So there's no way though, like while you're on air and recording, to see listenership.
No. So you can't see that. There's no way. So what happens is there's a building called Centec. It's in Auckland Park. So what happens is the radio gets recorded. Let's say being done live, and that signal goes from the building or wherever you're recording it from to Centec, and then it gets sent to people's cars. So there's always a bit of a delay, technically, like a second or two delay. But they can't really see it, I don't think, but they can see listenership. How do they do it? So it's called the RAMs, radio something measurement systems or something. So that's how they do it. But it's man, I actually forgot how they record it. But there's something, yeah.
Maybe
but
there's
they
some way that they can tell by how many
people
devices are tuned into that
frequency. Yeah. Whereas, like for instance, like streaming, we can see because I can see. Okay, cool. It's like a streaming it. Cool. That's one. But a signal that's sent to them, I think they can pick it up and see, and then they give those measurements to the radio stations at the end of the year. But it's either inflated or it's always like, so if they say, oh, we've got 2 million listeners, it's actually a 1.5 million.
Yeah, they just rounded up.
It's a rounded up kind of number. So yeah. But there's no way to see it. But now with streaming, it's much better because you can really accurately tell who's listening to what, what time, when people tune out, whatever. Yeah. So you can even see. So if you're doing a segment, you can then, if the segment doesn't work, so they'll test like 3 months. You'll do the segment, and then Oaks will go, no, listen. Guys, every single time we do the segment, the listenership drops off. Then what you do is you cancel that segment and you create a new one. Yeah. Then you can accurately predict and say, okay, this is going to work. Yeah.
Do you feel podcasts have allowed, or not allowed, but have caused radio and listenerships to die down?
Yeah. Because so the main reason I think people listen to radio is to kind of, you're driving in traffic and you want to hear. So I want to hear the news, and I want to hear what's happening around the world. So then if you like a radio DJ, let's say, then you like their opinion of what they talk about. So Gareth Cliff is insightful. I like to listen to him because he's insightful. He might have an opinion on X, Y, Z. If I'm listening to sport, it might be somebody else. If it's listening to about some woman who did this to her children, it might be Anela or whatever. So you have that. So podcasts have definitely, because people now can particularly go, okay, I want to listen to Jesse because so you obviously create this thing and you want to talk to people who have an insight on something. So that's quite interesting. It's like Joe Rogan. It's like whatever. So you know what I'm saying? So like some days I will listen to the radio, but other days I'm like, no, I want to listen to music. Or some days I do an audiobook, or you know what I'm saying? So it depends on the mood, but it definitely has killed it in a sense. But and like I listen to Australian radio often, Australian, New Zealand, British radio, because I like to still hear how they do it, and I'm always still trying to get. I'm trying to get back into radio now again. But yeah, it's podcasts have, but it's given a lot of people more platforms, which is good, which is nice.
Yeah, I know personally, if I want to listen to music, because you want to choose what you listen to, then you go on Spotify. If I if I want to hear someone talk about a particular thing, I can, narrow it down to, in that instance, I can choose that they talk about it. Whereas with radio, obviously, whatever they have planned and set to talk about, they talk about that. So that's why what's nice about podcasting is I want to hear about nutrition. Let's go listen to a particular nutrition talk on a particular topic. So it has been able to, niche down to that kind of particular thing. And also then Spotify, you can listen to any song at any point.
Dude,
it's not like radio where now you can hear a song for the first time on radio. The moment it's released, you get a notification from Spotify.
Exactly,
okay, the song's released. Let me listen to it.
The cool thing about radio, I think, is so why I got into it is, and every job that I've ever done, and why people listen to radio is because of this. They listen to it because they want to feel included. So that's why. So whereas if you're listening to, even when I'm listening to an Australian radio station, I understand that it's very far from me. I'm listening to a demographic and a country that is completely different to who we are as people. We they've got public transport. They've got very fair trade and whatever. Whereas here, it's, the difference middle class to, lower class to, it's completely different. But we listen to radio so that we can feel included. So when they talk what they call topics, so they go, there was a woman who almost got eaten by a lion. We want to know when you've escaped death. Then I go, oh my gosh, I've got a story about that. So then I can call in, you might not call in. So what they call is, someone who calls in is called a P1 listener. So that's listeners who engage. A P2 listener just listens. Never engages. That's what a P2 listener is called. But we engage because we want to be part of this conversation, and we listen because we can go, oh yeah, that's me. You relate to it. So that's relatable. So that's why you'll hear good radio DJs will often talk about relatable things that people go through every day. That's why sometimes, like, you hear people and they talk about stuff, and they'll talk about like yachts and this, and you're like,
not that relatable.
Not that relatable. Not everybody's been on a yacht. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one or two. Maybe you got the opportunity to be on a yacht. So when they do talk about it, and you're like, not that relatable. Then what happens? People will switch as well, and that's how you lose listeners as well. But yeah.
And in terms of those P1 listeners, when you do have that opportunity for people to call in, I'm always really curious in terms of like how many people are actually calling in.
Dude, a lot. So if you're throwing a good topic out that a lot of people are, so like literally what happens is, so there's 8 channels on the desk, and you can and you can literally see them light up. And they light up, and then what will happen is the messages will come in, and sometimes the messages come in so quickly that if you refresh, you're reading something and you like it. And I don't know if they've changed it now, but I always said to them, guys, they need to create a system where if you like a message, you highlight it and it goes into a place that it keeps it. Whereas now in the old system at 947, where you highlighted something and you're like, oh, I love this SMS, and you're busy like copying it over so you can read it later. Next thing, it's gone so quickly. It's just gone down because so many people are messaging in, phoning in. You can't get through. So yeah, so you can literally see how many people, and then oh my gosh, okay.
So if it's a really popular topic, would there be like thousands of calls, or would it be like hundreds?
I would say, no, listen, I would say probably 1,000. No, not thousands, but I would say hundreds of calls. Yeah. But a lot though, like sometimes it just buzzes off. It goes crazy. Yeah.
And it's also those talk shows, podcasts, radio, whatever. It helps people escape their life.
Yes.
And it brings them into the conversation. They don't have to say a word. Well, obviously, if they do, no one's going to know they're saying a word. But essentially, it makes them feel, as you said, included.
Yeah.
And it, I know personally, if I enjoy a podcast, I feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get so drawn in and so sucked in that, let's say you're driving for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and you're like, 40 minutes has passed and I've been part of this conversation, but actually I haven't.
Yeah, you really get into it, and it's kind of like, that's why people listen to radio, is also to escape. And that's why when you listen to radio here, it is more to engage, whereas if you're listening to radio overseas, you can't really engage, but you can maybe say, oh my gosh, it's happened to me or whatever. But it is people want to feel included. They want to talk about something and they want to let their story heard or whatever. And what's hard is, so the radio DJ throws out the topic, the producer has now to take those calls and find the best message, because what happens is you do this, you might do, let's say, 3 links on it. The first link is throw. So that is set up the conversation. Guys, woman got eaten by a lion, but she escaped near death. Oh my God, crazy. Then we talk about it in the studio, and now people are listening. Oh my gosh, then I tell my story, how I almost died by downing a bottle of vodka, resuscitated back to life. Then whoa. Then I go, cool. Then what I do is, before we end the link, you throw the number. Let us know, when did you escape death? Throw the number, 947, you out. Then we play 2 songs, or if the phone lines are buzzing, if we're still talking on the conversation and there's a great caller and the producers have already gotten them, we can take them there and then. If they don't, we play 2 songs, come back, we do 2 callers. We might start with a message, 2 callers, message, maybe 1 more caller. and then go out again. Or what we do is we do 3 links, another third link where we do that the same thing again. So then what happens is that you need to find, and also you end with the best story or the best message, because what you want to do is you want to leave people going, I want more. But at the end of the day, it's radio, so I've got to go on to the next thing, which the next thing might be a competition, might be Samsung's, the Samsung Galaxy 1,000 Rand, whatever. But so you want people to go, oh my gosh, that was hilarious, that was so good, because every single second, so people listen, they call it in 15-minute increments. So I get in my car here, and I drive to, let's say, Sandton. That's 20 minutes away, okay? So I'm in the car for 20 minutes. When I get to Sandton, the radio listener, the radio DJ wants you to go, no, just stay for a little bit. Just stay for a little bit longer. Because if I can keep you listening for 15-minute increments and you listening for 2 15-minute increments, I've got you for half an hour. And maybe that's my commute. But I want to keep you going for as long as I can. And that's how they try to do it, because they need to keep you going. That's why as soon as what they call a link opens, so the song ends, you hear Britney Spears, and then they go, oh, that was Britney Spears, blah, blah, blah. Then they do it, they call it a hook. The hook is 7 seconds. 7 seconds for me to keep you listening to me. How do I do that? I'll go, I won't go, oh my God, did you hear about this woman getting eaten by a lion? I'll start it off and I'll go, I'm just trying to think of a good hook now for this. I'll say, for instance, I'll go, imagine being eaten by a lion. That's what happened to a woman in the Kruger National Park, That's how the link starts. So that hook makes you go, what? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Now I'm engaged. Because what happens as well is when people are talking on the radio and when music is playing, your mind does something else. So when the music is playing, your mind kind of zones out. If the song is cool, yeah, sure, you're in. But as soon as I start talking, I need you to come back to focus now. So what I do is I hook you with that line, and that's how it works, yeah.
How difficult was that, finding those kind of stories, or
so you got to
coming up with the content?
You build your sites in the beginning like you have nothing, and then you kind of you read the newspaper, News 24, whatever, you know, and then what happens is as you go and as you get better, you start to find more sites, and you might find a story on Instagram and save it, and then you see it's on Lad Bible, then you say, okay, Lad Bible becomes your, okay, if I'm doing prep, Lad Bible is one of them, News 24, this site. So you start to curate and find these sites, and then eventually there's also sites that you can subscribe to, and you pay money for it, and they find the best content every single day and they send it to you. And they make, like, I remember Anele apparently paid for this one, and Greg, because Greg used to produce Anele, and Greg got the password to the site, and he showed me. He's like, bro, this is so cool. Like, if we ever get a show, we need to pay for this. But we ended up never, because we would find something, whatever, here and there. But yeah, that was such a cool site, because they create they find the content, they find the best stories in the world, and then they literally send them to you, and then they kind of create like topics of how to do it as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But it's hard in the beginning. Like, you struggle a bit, and then the thing is, depending on which show you're. So now what'll happen is, Anele is the first show that people listen to, right? By the time they come to you, if you're doing 7 to 10, I can't talk about this big story, because why? Anele has spoken about it. 9 to 12 has spoken about it. 12 to 3 has spoken about it. 3 to 6 has spoken about it. So now what's happening is every single person has spoken about it. So when it gets to your show at 7 o'clock, you're like, oh God, okay, I want to talk about it, but how do I do it differently? So when Greg and I were doing, they asked us, okay, you got to write like a thing of what is the thing that differentiates your show? And our thing was, we always going to do it different. So Anele might throw and do it and whatever. Greg and I, by the time we would get to our show, we'll make a rap we'll make a song about it. We'll make a skit. We'll do, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to always do it different, because you cannot just talk about it, because everyone's spoken about it. So by the time they get to you, you got to treat it completely different to you. So you always have to do things differently depending on the show that you're. If you're in breakfast, you can do what I would say is lazy and just do a topic. But if you are a show that's 6th in line, you got to completely change it up if you want to talk about the same thing.
Were there ever times where, there's some massive story, and then the breakfast, or the people in the most popular place or popular show were like, no, but this is ours, no one else can touch it?
No, so they will do it, but because they first, but then they would never say you can't talk about it. So you would have to just make sure that you're going to talk about it differently. But yeah, you would hear a lot of people sometimes talk about the same thing. And some DJs would like if I was doing 9 to 12, which is the show after breakfast, I would definitely listen to breakfast because if I'm going to do the same topic, what I would do is I would actually throw and say, I don't know if you guys heard about Anela and them talking about it. What I would do is I would ask my producer to cut a clip of it, play that clip, then I would talk about it, and then I would go and I would do it differently and then add something into it to make it a little bit unique. That's how I would do it. So that's why it's also important for you to listen to shows if you're on a radio station. You must listen to shows, especially the show before you, because they might speak about the same thing and you don't want to be a guy who comes in and just does exactly the same thing. Yeah. Because then it just sounds like you're not doing your research. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And some of the people that you probably chatted to in studio or on the phone or whatever, in terms of like celebrities or, famous people, like what was maybe the most memorable person that you had the opportunity to talk to?
Yeah, dude, so we were thinking about it the other day, actually. So if you come into my house, it's actually quite weird. Come into my house is you walk into my house and then you turn, like as you come into like the dining room, whatever, there's photos on the wall, and there's a big photo of me and my wife, like a wedding photo, and then there's kind of like the groomsmen, the bridesmaids, family photos, whatever, and right at the top is a photo of me and David Beckham. Nice. And he was
obviously in studio.
No. So we had to go interview him when he was bringing in his Whiskey Hay Club. We interviewed him somewhere, but it was for 947. We interviewed him. We interviewed Ryan Giggs, the Thierry Henry, which was incredible. I played rock paper scissors with him. We interviewed the Jackson 5, which was cool. Dave Grohl's drummer, the guy who died, Taylor.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what his name is, but yeah, we interviewed him. There's been some really cool, and then like most of the South African celebs, like I interviewed AKA, which is really, I interviewed him a couple of times. Black Coffee interviewed him, but what was cool for me about AKA was because he was a big celebrity, and we had interviewed him twice, and he came to do a show at 947, and we were sitting in the corner, and all the like fans were there, and he walked in, and everybody went mad. And then he stopped before he greeted everyone. He saw us and he came to us to say hello. And I kind of respected that. Cool. I was like, shame. I was like, you don't have to because you're a celebrity, but he kind of took the time out to come and say hi. And I kind of even said to Greg, I was like, I kind of respect that. That's kind of cool, yeah. But yeah, dude, we've been very fortunate. I think in that kind of industry, in this industry in radio, you do get to interview and speak to some really cool people that are quite fascinating, which is nice, yeah. So.
But that's also something that you realize that also are normal people.
Yeah. You do. You
realize that even they might be nervous. And it's like you go on stage for thousands of people.
Yeah.
But then you come on radio and now you might be a little bit nervous. Or it's just to see their human traits.
Yeah. There's actually such nice, I think there's only one celebrity, but I don't want to say their name, that I've met that I've hated. Every single other person,
what genre or what type of celebrity were they? You don't have to say their name.
No, they were singer. Oh no. Oh, so this person is an actress.
Okay.
And she won. So I have a rule. So I arrived here 5 minutes before. That's because I went for a run, and then when I got back, I was messing around with my kids, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go see Jesse. If I arrive 10 minutes before, I'm late. That's what I believe in. Like for me, if I need to be somewhere, I will always arrive 15 minutes before, get comfortable, whatever. I don't like to be late. This person was, first of all, 30 minutes late. Okay. Then we said, we were like, no, we were not going to do the interview because they're 30 minutes late. They're like, no, we need to do the interview. It's unacceptable. Okay, fine, cool. Her manager, whatever, she came in. She was so rude. She just spoke about, we try to get it on topic about, because we had to speak about a certain thing. It was a paid spot for as well. Just the audacity and the kind of this person, it was just the way they carried themselves and how they are that Greg and I were like, I've never again. But for me, we are people, and I will always respect you no matter who you are. So if I'm talking to Sally from Brakpan to AKA, at the end of the day, we're all people, and I respect Sally as much as I respect AKA. You know what I'm saying? I'm always going to treat Sally the same as I'm going to treat AKA. But yeah, like being late, hate how people do that. And radio as well as live. So I can't, if I say, hey guys, in 30 minutes time, we're going to talk to AKA. If you're driving in a car and you like AKA, you're gonna go, cool, in 30 minutes, cool. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay for those, you know, cool. Because what I'll do is, the reason I throw forward is to keep you in the car, so you know if you're a fan, okay, to listen. But if he then doesn't arrive, now I've got to be like, yeah, sorry guys, yeah, he hasn't arrived. So it's also that kind of thing as well. So
how would you manage that in terms of if someone's late and they haven't arrived?
It's weird, like,
because you don't want to make them seem bad, but you also don't want to lie and be like, no, they had a surprise gig or whatever. Like,
it's weird. Some people like, so in radio they say, so like there's a rule: if you swear on air, they say just move on, don't say sorry, because what will happen is Sally might have heard you swear, but the rest of the people didn't. So if you bring it to people's attention, then they want to know what you said. So there's that kind of rule, like, don't say anything. So
did you catch yourself ever saying anything?
Oh man, we started the show, and what it would do, Greg would do, is she would play this big intro, and then he would come in, and then we were like, just, you know, and whenever, the thing about Greg and I, we're truly mates. That's also something you can tell chemistry. You can hear chemistry.
Yeah.
People thought Greg and I grew up together. We were like, no, we met on air. We're just really good mates. But we were just like, so he starts off this link and he's going at it, and I'm like, and he's like, how was your weekend? I was like, yo, dude, it was effing cool. And I didn't even know. I just went on, and he went on, and then we finished the link. He clicks the song, he turns our mics off, and I move the mic away from me, and he's like, so why would you drop an F-bomb in the intro? And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I look, and the producers are like, and then I checked the SOS line, and everyone's like, the Lucky just dropped the F-bomb. And I was like, so then he's like, no, don't say anything. And then I was like, no, let me just, so I went back and I said, I truly apologize if there were kids in the car. I really didn't realize I said that. I'm so sorry, whatever. And then people were like, okay. Because sometimes people get, like, if there's especially kids in the car, it's kind of rude, whatever. So you do, but yeah. So,
and because also you're representing the station.
Yes, yeah. So it's also, that's, yeah. But I did not know I said it. And then the one time I did say it, and as I said it, I was like, and then he kind of carried on, and then we just moved on. We just didn't say anything.
Is there any like ramifications for those kind of things in terms of like the producers giving you warnings?
Yeah, you get a warning or whatever.
What if they say, like, there's always that announcement that you can report?
Oh, the BCCSA.
Yes.
Yeah. I heard it actually when I was driving on the way here. So it's about, excuse me, it's about if somebody feels offended by it. So me coming into the intro and saying that I had an effing good weekend, it's offensive to somebody that doesn't like swearing, but I wasn't saying it.
It's not a personal attack.
It's not a personal attack. Whereas if I come on and I say that, Steve Hofmeyer, if this and this, then it's disrespectful towards him, one, or to people that like him. So then it's different. So it depends on the situation. But some people literally. So what had happened was when Greg and I finished, I went to East Coast Radio, and I was working in Durban, and I was doing a show there. And people don't know this, but Durban's quite it's heavy. It's obviously lots of Indian people, lots of Afrikaans people, and both Indian and Afrikaans are very like quite sensitive people. And I said something about the government. Ooh, bruh. One Oak wrote a message and said, I need you to apologize to that politician now, or I will contact the BCCSA. And I said, and I wrote back, I'm like, I'm so sorry, sir, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And then I told my boss, I said, listen, this might happen. And he's like, oh, what did you say? I said, well, this is the clip. So I sent him the clip, and then he listened. He's like, no, bro, what are you talking about? That's crazy. That's ridiculous. And then, so what will happen is your boss would get called into a thing. They write to you, and then you have to kind of apologize, or you have to withdraw your statement depending on what you said, obviously. And then if people still feel, then you have to write an apology. You have to post it on Facebook. And so there's systems, but it depends on what you say, obviously. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of that, the guy, he was on 702. And he was like, he was a great journalist and people loved him. But just one day he came to work and, bro, he literally just swore for an hour about the government, and then he just left. And it was...
When was this?
It was like 2011.
What's his name?
I don't know his name. I gotta find the clip. I'll find it for you. I'll send it to you. It's wild. It's still till today. It's on there. Yeah, I'll send you the clip. But it's what he just went off. And everybody was like, it's like kind of... Because he was quite a composed journalist as well. And when he spoke on air, he got angry about stuff, but you always kind of heard that, okay, no, he kind of kept it together, but my bro, he just went off. And Ux were like, I remember.
So, like, let's say during the show, you just go crazy.
Yeah.
What would they do? Like, will the producers come in and be like, bro, get off air?
No, so if you're breakfast, your boss will most probably be listening and they can tell someone to come get you off the air. But like if you're 10 to 1 in the night and you're swearing and you're doing that, the thing is everyone's at home. So the people that are hearing it are like, oh my gosh, this guy's losing it. And it might blow up tomorrow and they might record it and play it out on TikTok or whatever. But yeah, they most probably would phone security and be like, get him out the building. Like they would frog march you.
Hectic.
Yeah, but I think like people that do that, like I don't believe in burning bridges. Like what happened to me at 947, I'm still upset about it. But when I go back to 947, of course, it's a great station. It's a love station in Joburg. So yeah, I mean, it's business. It's one of those things. So I don't think you should do that. Like when I hear people like flip a table and
at the time, how were you? Because obviously, I can only imagine you've had a lot of maturing since then.
Yeah,
as a person, as a
person, yeah, dude, I was.
What did you find in terms of like the personal growth of like now not holding a grudge, coming from a point where you might have been hurt initially?
No, I was in a bad place. It was because also the thing is, so that day I was being sponsored this massive car at the time, and I was driving it, and I was doing a talk at the school in. It was Risserveld High, beautiful school. So I go to Risserveld High, do this talk, and I'm talking about inspiration and my life story, which is quite interesting, whatever. And I finish there, and then I get this call from our then boss Ravi, and he's like, "Gents, I need to talk to you." And I didn't think anything of it, but Greg, he's very insightful. He's like, "Oh no, dude, we're getting fired." And I was like, no, man, what are you talking about? And literally it was that. They called us and told us that Fresh is going to be replacing us. And it's that victim mentality. Everybody's been through it. Like, life is hard. If you're a South African, life is always hard. We don't have power. We don't have this. We don't have that. It's hard all the time. But when something like that happens to you, you kind of, why me? Why do bad things happen to good people? You kind of get it. And also what upset me about it is that it's not that we weren't doing our job. So we were really good at our job. We were doing a good job. And for that to happen, I was like, and also what sucked is that no station was like, come on. So that also hurt. So it was like kind of too nice in the back. So when you're doing that good of a job and you're live, so like there was I think there was 16,000 comments on Facebook about people asking what's happening with Greg and Lucky, and I was like, surely they can see that we are liked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but so, and it's going to sound better, but so every other radio station in the world or radio like houses or whatever, they hire people because they can speak on air. Telling a story is a talent. It's not, some people, if you ever listen to somebody tell a story and you're like, my God, that was hard to listen to. You're like, yo, that was tough.
It's like when you're having that conversation with someone and you're like,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just, all right, okay.
Just get to the point.
Let's get to the point. Yeah, so for me, it was like, we're good at our jobs, we're great at storytelling, but we then got let go and then nobody else wanted us. And I was in a bad place. I was in a bad place. And yeah, it sucked. And until today, I mean, I'm still kind of sad about it, but you can't. What are you gonna do? You can't, well, be in that forever. You just gotta move on, and you gotta go. Okay, well, I gotta go on to the next thing. Yeah. But it's weird. It's such a strange thing because you can be a strong person, and then it happens to you, and then you're just like, oh, you're just down and out. It's a very weird thing. I think it's such a human thing. Yeah.
What's your view on time healing wounds, or is it more the personal growth in terms of, because someone can die, all the time in the world can pass. Yeah. You're not going to get over that person. It might just be more the focusing and the personal and the internal growth. Yeah.
Listen, it's like my old man passed away 4 years ago and I can see my mom hasn't been the same. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, because it was her partner, and I feel bad. Like I feel so like it hurts. Like for us, we lost a father and an incredible man and whatever. But for her, it was like I said to my wife the other day, because you hear people passing all the time. I said to my wife, I was like, I don't know what I would do if she passed. And the thing is, as well, as we've got kids, so you got to keep it together for your kids. And if she passed now, it sounds wrong, but it would be worse, because you'd have to tell your kids like, I want to see mom. He's like, but we can't. It's such a strange thing, and I think it's like work stuff. I've now realized you just gotta. This happens. This is life. Well, I'll get another job. We'll make more money. So like when a car gets stolen, it's fine. It's insured or whatever. So work stuff, when people take it really personal, like when they have those flip out and scream and swear, I'm like, God, it's going to happen. You are never going to be liked by everybody. You are not going to be enjoyed by everyone. I worked at a company recently. I liked it, but I didn't love it. You know what I'm saying? And it just happens because you're not going to fit in anyway. And I think once you learn that idea of don't be better, just get better. That's it. That's it. Because it's I think you as a person, you're not going to grow if you keep holding those grudges, or you're like, and like when people are like, oh, I'll show them. Never do things for revenge. It's not going to help you. You're gonna be rich and you'll be a millionaire and you'll have a yacht, but when you look back at it later, you're like, oh, I did it for the wrong reasons. So cool, you got that sports car, you're driving and you're rich, but when you and it's strange, like people understand and know real people. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see when I'm like, when you're with someone and you're like, oh, this person is fake. They're trying to be something. And then you're like, and then you realize you see them, and then when you see them around people, and you're like, their friends aren't really their friends. They have them because, oh, maybe he's a cousin or maybe he's something, but they're not really. And then you understand why. You're like, okay, and he's always showing you how much money he has, and check at my yacht, and you're like, bro, life's not about that. Yeah, you just gotta get better.
And life is, as you mentioned, not just about the work problems and those kind of problems that actually sort themselves out. It's actually about the people in your life and the family and the things that truly matter. I was recently reading Stephen Hawking's book, Brief Answers to Big Questions. Oh, yeah. And there was one thing just about like the expanse of the universe and how big the universe is, and like how insignificant each individual person actually is in the greater scheme of things. I mean, if I had to die, if you had to die, the world's going to carry on. 99% of the world, if not more, won't even know that we died. We aren't special. There's nothing actually special about each individual person. And it just made me think, like, not everything is that serious. Just realizing, like, I'm going to die. My life's going to be over. What I was stressing about today, tomorrow is probably not even going to be a stress anymore. Why is it such a big deal now? We're going to die. Things are going to change. You're going to get new opportunities. Yesterday's worries were yesterday's worries, and then today you look back like, actually, why did I even worry about that?
And it's so weird when you get through it. Like when you have a hectic work week and you like 2 weeks ago, I had a crazy week. It was just wild. We had to try to get a campaign out, and then you finish that week, and then you kind of look back, you're like, man, I was really stressed. I was really worried. But it's like, you get over it. You do it, and you gotta, because you can't let those things kind of, bog you down in the idea of, oh, I'm never gonna get through it. I'm never, that kind of life. I see people like that sometimes, man. And I also I'm fortunate to have good mates that are kind of all ambitious and working hard or whatever. But it is strange when you're young and you're at varsity, you kind of, everything's about me. Yeah. That's also about the thing about radio, man. You'll hear, so good radio DJs. So the greatest thing about radio is not about me. It's about you, the listener. So I'm servicing you as a listener. Great radio DJs know that. Bad radio DJs are always telling you about me and how I went to Taboo and bought bottle service and how I partied with this celebrity and that celebrity. It's like, no one cares about that. Tell me something that it's going to benefit me as a listener now. So whatever it is, whether it is sport, news, whatever, we are servicing you as a person. And good radio DJs know that. We're bad radio, and you can immediately hear it. When they're talking about themselves, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just click.
And that's the thing about human nature, and you actually need to realize. And you realize it when you see that. Yeah. So in human nature, if someone is always constant, or like most people will put out the false side. So if someone is always like, oh, the world's amazing, I'm so happy, I'm so blessed, like those people on social media, it's usually the opposite.
Yes.
It's the
like,
opposite.
Like the boyfriend, like the ones who talk about their partners on Facebook. They're usually in a bad relationship.
Yes. Like the people, like if you randomly go out and you say, like, let's say we're having a conversation where we're talking about our partners. Yeah. And then randomly I say, I've never cheated on my girlfriend, eh? Yeah. Usually, like, that's probably you probably have.
You probably have,
And those people that, when I got bottles, I was partying with this person. Yeah. They are insecure. Yeah. Because they want validation from the world. So usually, like, you can pick up on someone what their actual feelings are about themselves or about the world by looking at the opposite of what they say.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't enjoy the first, like, let's say I've got clients sometimes and it's difficult, but you kind of just have to look past it, is the moment they arrive, and you've obviously experienced people like this as well, where the moment they arrive, it's just about them.
Yes.
You haven't seen them for 2 weeks. Yeah. Then they come and they tell you everything they've done.
Yeah. But they never ask you.
Before they even asked, how are you doing? You've heard about their life.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's so strange. I don't know. I think it's I always find it weird when I meet older people that are like that. So like young people, you understand, because young people haven't had those. They haven't
humbling
had
experiences almost. They haven't been taught that they're not special.
That's what it's called. The humbling experiences of life. That's such a good way to say that. Yeah. Whereas when you meet older people and you're like, my goodness, and they do that. They'll talk for like there's 7 people in the room and they're telling everyone their stories the whole time, and no one is getting a word in, and you're like, wow, I wonder why. Yeah. And it's like, how have you not? And also, can you not read the room? Yeah. It's strange. It's a weird.
But it is also a talent. Most people actually have this talent, but to be able to read the room. And you get those people that can't. Yeah. But also, I don't know if you can feel the energy when you walk into a room. I can feel sometimes, like, if they've been fighting. If a couple's been fighting and then you walk into the room and there's just that, like, a gloomy feeling inside the room.
My wife and I do this thing whenever we're, like, around friends. She'll go, babe, will you give me a drink? And then I'll turn to her and say, don't tell me what to do. But it's a joke. Yeah. We always get that. But when there's new people, they don't, it's like kind of, and then we like, I'll go, yeah, sure, babe. But it's such a weird thing to do that, because then some people, like, when they say that to each other, like if you say that as a joking thing, like they kind of look at each other like, oh, and then like, oh shit, like did I hit a nerve? Yeah. I was like, yeah. It's always, oh man, it's when people fight in front of you, ooh, that's always like, I'm always like, guys, like.
And it's tough because everyone's been in that position where they're fighting with a partner or a friend or whatever in public. And it's tough to where you draw the line. And especially, I mean, obviously anyone that has gone to like day events where there's a little bit of alcohol, and you see couples fighting, and you've probably been in a position as well where you're having an argument, and because it's so loud, there's music going, people are drinking, you think it's not that serious, but we've all seen couples who've been in a position where it's just like, we actually fought a bit too much.
Yeah. The thing for me is as well is so like alcohol is such a strange thing. I believe if you drink alcohol and you change, don't drink alcohol. So like I am exactly the same. In fact, the only thing that happens with me and alcohol is I become friendlier. But if you fight when you drink alcohol, then alcohol is not for you, my friend, and don't drink alcohol. Like Oaks who say, "Yo, no, got into a fight because of the brandy." Don't blame the brandy. Brandy has been around for years, brother. Okay, so I find it so weird when people or like they become nastier or whatever. Then alcohol isn't for you, and you shouldn't take it. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird, and I
think alcohol and money are pretty much the same thing,
dude.
Actually, alcohol, money, and steroids, right? Whatever personality traits you have or the type of person you have, with those three things, it's going to heighten them.
So what do steroids do?
In terms of steroids, like, you know, you hear those roid rage things.
Yeah, I've heard
say like, roid rage, whatever. But I mean, not every person that takes steroids has that as a side effect. You know, not everyone that takes steroids kills over and dies.
No,
So obviously, in terms of steroids, it's, you know, you could be a very aggressive person naturally, by nature. Then you take juice, and then maybe your testosterone's heightened, and then there might be hormone imbalances. Then you become more aggressive. You know, I know people that have taken steroids, and they're still just as lovely of a person on or off the steroids. So there's no difference. So, but that's maybe the only thing. In terms of steroids, that it can heighten personality traits. Maybe it can make you more depressed as well, I guess.
So I took fat burners, and I became very depressed.
There's certain things that I think you could potentially, like as a man, we should have a tiny amount of estrogen, let's say. If you take...
Is that what's in fat burners?
No. But it could just have caused an imbalance where your natural level of estrogen increased or whatever. So I don't know exactly, obviously, the reason for it, but potentially it could have brought up... And I mean, estrogen in men is not ideal, a large amount. And that's why people with low testosterone in males are usually more depressed because their testosterone is lower. So I don't think the fat burner would have lowered your testosterone, but essentially
it was weird.
It caused some imbalance.
I actually had to stop, because I just met my wife, and I started taking it.
It was like over the counter.
It was like something you can get at Dischem. And I think it was a USN brand at the time, and I just couldn't take it anymore. But then I later found, because then I stopped, and then like 2-3 years later I was like, no, let me try a different fat burner, and I was actually fine. But I was like, well, I'll just rather run then. But it was maybe
it was just something.
There was something obviously in it that just did that imbalancing. But I'm heck when it comes to pills. I've never taken a sleeping pill. Like I'm like, if I need to sleep and I'm not tired, then I must run, or I must gym, or we should not be taking medication to do something that is a natural for us as human beings. So it scares me, like how many pills. And did you watch that? There's a series on Netflix called, so the Netflix one's called Painkiller, but the Prime one's called Dope Sick. And
I've seen both advertised, but I've watched neither. Is it the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Watch one of them. But it's wild. It is wild how a corporation can do that to people and feel nothing. It fascinates me, but it also shows you, like, we as human beings, like, people will just take anything that's given to them, and that's strange for me. Like when people
want the easy way out.
Like I started taking creatine recently, and I was a bit weary at first, and I was scared. I didn't want to tell anyone. I said to a mate, "Hey man, listen, I'm thinking about taking creatine." And he's like, "Oh yes, that's fine." And I was like, and I said to him, "So isn't it like, wouldn't it be bad for me?" He's like, "No," but he's like, creatine. And then I spoke to my doctor, and he's like, no, it's obviously just heightened proteins or whatever. But he's like, no, creatine is fine. There's nothing.
I think there was maybe just marketing around, or maybe just over strict parents or something that made people think creatine's bad. And it was also just like when I was in school, it was like, Jesse's on creatine. Whereas you most likely aren't even going to see 0.1% difference by taking creatine. Like, it's not going to in any way change your hormone levels. It's not going to change any hormone levels. So if it doesn't change hormone levels, it's not actually going to help you the same way those negative steroid type things that people think. Obviously, I mean, steroids scientifically, you can visually see that they work. You know, whereas creatine, it definitely is beneficial, but in no way is it as harmful or bad for you as the stigma around it.
Yeah, no, dude. So then I did exactly. I started then speaking to people, and everyone's like, "No, but creatine is this." And you're right. It was literally it. I think it must have been an advertising campaign that made it look so bad because in my head,
it's a really smart campaign.
Yeah, it was really
all
good.
The kids are like, "I want creatine. This stuff's so toxic."
Exactly. I was actually like ashamed. I kind of like took it. Like, I didn't let my wife see it. And then after I spoke to the doctor, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's fine. That's creatine. Let's put it out."
Yeah.
So now I take it, and a mate of mine did say like you got to take it consistently all the time. Like that's the thing about creatine for it to work. You can't take it on and off. It's not But I was so like, whoa. But yeah, it's weird. But people do take anything. I mean, it's also just like, oh, they see something because also you go into Dis-Chem and there's so much. You're like, oh yeah, this looks great. This like that.
And
like,
most of what you buy is just based on the packaging.
Yes, yeah. You see it, you're like, because it's got always big bold lettering, pre-workout, da-da. You're like, yes, this looks like it's gonna get me going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of, these companies making money off sick people and making drugs, and, there was more billionaires made from the COVID period in terms of CEOs of like those massive companies.
Yeah.
There was more billionaires made in that period.
Then
there was like 15 new billionaire CEOs from medical companies during COVID. And Russell Brand, he posted such a good video where it was, things are wrong when medical companies are making more financial gain through periods of sickness than health. When I can't remember all that it was, but it was basically saying like, and then no one gets helped. They get so rich and so much money through a period where they're overcharging things. No one's really getting better. And
everyone's just fine.
And they just benefiting.
But don't you find it interesting that people do? Like, I don't understand how much money do you need? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How much money? If you have $1 billion, surely at one point you can go, that's enough now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me give some away. Let me help research something that is like, so my wife's got diabetes. So shame. She's really got the worst end of the stick. So she's got diabetes when she was, I think she was 8 or 9. A doctor said to her, don't worry, this disease will be treatable or will be gone by the time you're 18. She's 42 now. She still has it because they've realized, the diabetic people.
How much money they can make off them?
Oh, this person's going to take insulin for the rest of their life? Oh, that is fantastic. My wife has got a pump that it's about that big, and it's connected to her all the time. So she takes it off, and then it feeds insulin into her. Then she's got fibromyalgia, which is like, so Lady Gaga's also got it. It's kind of like what it happens is she's got pain everywhere. Okay. We were at one point we were paying 50K worth of medicine every month. Then she had our first son, and that pain went away. And now she's told the doctors, I don't need the meds anymore. I can actually manage. It's fine, which is, thank God. I mean,
and by not taking medicine, has she been able to?
She's good. She's good. Yeah. Because what happens is apparently, so the pain is heightened. The brain heightens the pain. So the pain tells your brain it's sore, and then your brain goes, okay, it's worse than it is, and it makes it even worse. So that's kind of, listen, not scientific, but that's kind of the pro. And then she's got a thing called tachycardia, which is, in layman's terms, like her heart rate is always jogging. So mine right now is 80.
So she's always got like an elevated heart rate. But the problem is she can't do exercise. So if she runs, her heart will just pop. Because me and you, we go for a run, our heart rate reaches around 40. Hers is always at 120. You know what I'm saying? So it's always elevated. So she can't do that. So it's. So you guys have to be quite tame.
Gotta keep it calm, bro, in the bedroom. But yeah, so it's just, and it's like these people make so much money off these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, her medical bills, her discovery. So she's on the highest plan for discovery because of all these things. And yeah, it's crazy. But surely we as human beings have to say, when is enough enough? How
much profit can we make from human suffering?
Yeah. And also, like, what's strange for me is if I hit somebody with my car and it was my fault, I feel bad as a person. I feel bad. I'm like, shit. When I have a fight with my wife and it was my fault, I feel bad. Consciously, I'm like,
you've got that accountability.
I shouldn't have done that. Like, it's wrong of me to do that. When I was young, I had some anger management issues and I used to fight, whatever. Now as a grown up, I look back and I'm like, that was such stupid stuff that I did. How could I have done that? Like, how could I have fought with this guy? Why did I say that? Like, I feel bad about some of the stuff that I did as a kid. How do these people not feel that? How does someone just go, I made $20 billion last year. Fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Surely at one point you got to, like, that's when I always, so like you reading that Stephen Hawking book, I dig space. I'm a big fan of space. Aliens, all that stuff. I'll tell you an alien theory just now. And I'm always going, if aliens attack us, we are screwed. This will not be like Independence Day because we as a world, we can't even agree on food. Our races, what's happening now in Palestine and Israel, we can't even agree on that. How are we going to fight another race or like beings or whatever? We can't even like get that. Like me and you live in the West Rand, but we make fun of the East Rand. I mean, it's wild. I don't understand it. We will never ever come together.
Maybe that's the one thing that will bring us together. Probably not.
Oh, probably not. Probably not. Yeah. Yeah. It's such a strange thing for me. I always think about that. But this alien theory, I'll tell it you quickly. It's such a fascinating theory. My friend says this. She told me this, and it makes so much sense because I dig this aliens kind of stuff. So the theory is this: humans have been getting faster, stronger throughout society, right? You'd agree with that. So Usain Bolt broke the world record. Somebody will break his record, right? That is true. That's factual, right? We as human beings look better now than we did hundreds of years ago, right? True. Mona Lisa, who drew that? What's his name? Is it Angelo? Was it Michelangelo? Or was it the other guy? Oh, yeah. He drew her because he thought she was the most beautiful woman that he had ever seen. Apparently, that's why he drew her. If she walked on the streets, the reason I'd look at her is because she looks weird. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't give her a second glance. She's not like, there are women now that are so incredibly beautiful that you are just like, oh my gosh, wow. Right. So therefore, humans are getting better looking. We are becoming faster. We are becoming stronger. So this is my friend's theory about aliens. She goes, so they're saying that apparently this finger, the pinky, so this is the finger that made us game changers, the opposable thumb, obviously. This finger is useless, apparently. This is like they're saying in few years, people won't even have pinkies because we don't need them. So her theory is this. You look at aliens and you see them and they've got these big heads and they've got these long fingers and these huge eyes and no noses and all that nonsense. So her theory is, what if aliens aren't aliens? They're just us in the future. And when we see aliens and we're like, oh my gosh, I think I saw an alien and then the spaceship flew away. It's them time traveling back. So like a kid when he's 17 and he steals his dad's car. That's just a teenage alien messing up, time traveling back, getting seen, flies back. So her theory is that aliens aren't aliens, they're just us in the future. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so good. That is genius. It could be. It's a plausible theory.
Well, Stephen Hawking says in his book that time travel, or as we know it now at least, is not possible. Mainly just because obviously we see everything in 3 dimensions. Yeah. And apparently there's 11 dimensions. This is beyond my understanding. Yeah. There's 11 dimensions, and if we can access into those other dimensions, then we'll be able to time travel. I don't know. But this book is fascinating. I promise you, if you enjoy space and you enjoy,
I dig that. I read his other one. I read the
first one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, so I must definitely get that. So what is it called?
Brief Answers to Big Questions. Okay. So he talks about do aliens exist? Yeah. He talks about time travel. He talks about AI. He talks about should we colonize space? Like
that kind of stuff.
Interesting questions.
I love how that should we colonize space? How
are we having those thoughts?
That's what I love about humans. It's like we there's never enough. Yeah. Like we must colonize space now. Like it's not enough that we've built like Dubai. When you look at Dubai, you're like, there was just sand there. And then somebody was like, I'm going to build something here. And then they did. And now, like 11 or I think it's like 25 years ago, there was nothing in Dubai. And now it is the craziest city on earth. Like, it's wild. Like, humans are just, we are fascinating creatures.
I think also as humans, we don't have enough.
Yeah.
In terms of, if you look at depression, it's mainly a lot of depression cases are when people don't have enough going on.
Yeah.
When you don't have problems to solve, when you don't have issues that need to be addressed in terms of work or, solving problems, you start to think about the negative and you start to think about the bad. And obviously the depression grows because you're not like you've got a work to do tomorrow, you've got a particular thing where someone might not, and you're like, oh, it's a Sunday, I'm alone, I'm bored, but if you've got something to work towards the next day, those negative thoughts aren't going to be there as much.
Have you heard about that? So, like, have you heard about like old people who stop working and then die like a year later?
Yeah.
It's because of that. Because their minds have been active and working so much for so many years, and now they stopped and they just drop over dead.
Yeah, I don't think we as humans, obviously you need to retire in terms of from, like, if you're an accountant, you don't want to be a 90-year-old person still going to your accounting firm, but you shouldn't retire in the sense that you're like, okay, cool, now's my chance to sit back and watch TV all day, because then you do regress quickly. I mean, I can see my aunts, they used to work full-time jobs and they retired. Now they're about 70-ish. I say, can I come visit you? They'll be like, you can't come on Tuesday, I got a hair appointment. That's all they're doing. The entire Tuesday is just a haircut. But because they've got so little going on in their lives, that's a big thing, is a haircut. Or I can't go on a Friday because their friend's coming over for tea. And it's like, you used to go to work for 8 hours, then you used to go have coffee and lunch with your friends afterwards. Like, you used to do so much, but now that there's just so few things in your life, one thing a day is almost too much. And that's how you regress. I mean, if I compare them, my dad's sisters, to my mom's mom. So my gran is about 80-ish. She lives on a farm in Leidenburg. She still sometimes fixes the gates. She still sometimes, if there's a snake in the property, kills the snake. She does those things.
That's gangster.
And she's younger mentally and physically than them, but not by age, because she's had to keep up with doing all these things, she is able to do more. And that's maybe the negative thing about stopping one day, because then you regress, as you said.
I think what you got to do is, so like a friend of mine told us, which is quite cool, so if you're working now, your age, you must have a side hustle that is going to be your retirement plan. So it's a business that you're building slowly now, and you can afford to fail and lose on. But when you retire at 65, let's say, if you're fortunate enough, that then has built up, and someone's running it, but it's yours, and it's bringing you income, and that's kind of thing. So, like, for me, I've always said, bro, I'd love to own a bar. Because this is my dream job. Well, radio but my dream job would to be, if I could have a beer with every single person in the entire world and do this, I would do that. That would be my dream job. If somebody could pay me to do that.
So then what about having a podcast show where you chat? Obviously you can't have it with every person in the world, but you can do the radio aspect of it, you can do the conversation aspect of it, you can do the beer aspect of it, and there you go.
Dude, like that for me would be like,
have an on the road podcast where you travel to bars and you have a beer with random customers and patrons and you chat to them.
Beer around the world. Oh, really? Like, because I think and that's the thing, is everyone has a story. That some people definitely more interesting than others, but everybody's lived, and it's always like, I find it fascinating when you meet these like old like men or women and they tell you things that you're just like you're wild, bro. Wild, but you're just like blown away by, like, oh my God, I can't believe you experienced or did that or whatever.
And that's what we need to do as humans, is not be so self-indulged that we don't find an opportunity to, I mean, if you can, and I was reading this book, Laws of Human Nature. And it's basically saying, because it helps you converse with people, helps you win in sales, and just helps you be a better communicator. And it was this section was mainly on your ability to listen to people and to truly engage with them and actually you know, read what they're saying,
Yeah.
and not just think about your response. Actually think about what they're saying. And you know, if we just look at our parents, you know, I'm fortunate enough where my parents are still together. They're still obviously healthy and alive. But I actually don't know what makes my parents truly tick, what their real actual passions are, like deep down, that they've never expressed.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my parents.
Yeah.
You can go like you. I've got a world. There's a whole world inside your head that can be explored.
Yeah.
A vast world that is essentially untapped unless I'm willing to go to you and just talk to you and ask you and get and learn from you. And you can see it as like, you know, you can visualize this person's life and you can be so intrigued by medial things.
Yeah.
And that person's going to feel special. They're going to feel more validated, and it's just going to help the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, so there's so much actually going on inside your head that you can just ask questions, and it's like telling a story, painting on a canvas of this amazing stuff that's inside this person's head.
Yeah, no, it's like, I think everybody, the people, you're right. Like, it's weird when you grow up and then you find out stuff about your parents and you're like,
yes,
I didn't know that. And they're like, yo, no, we did this. And it's strange because I think as a kid, when you're growing up, it is all about you and your parents are always talking to you about your stuff.
Yes.
But then so now have you asked your parents these questions?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so nice as an adult to look at your parents with not having any judgment, just being like, I can see, even though you're a 60-year-old man, you are trying to figure out life just as much as I am. Yeah. Because there's no point in anyone's life. Yes, there's maturity and growth. Yeah. But in someone's life, there's no perfect understanding of how things are, how you are. Yeah. That life just gets super easy the older you get. You have to just understand that my dad is trying, my mom is trying to make sense of life just as much as I am. Yeah.
It's are they still working?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's weird, when you looked at your parents when you were younger, they look like they had it together, hey?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, okay, and I understand. Okay, you guys didn't. You're like, it's very weird to see that.
And I think maybe just the emotional part. Not saying that emotional people, but more just, seeing, okay, that upset my mom. I could see that this comment upset her. I can see that the stress from work is affecting her in a particular way. When you're a kid, you don't see that. Yeah. You kind of maybe just see, okay, my dad got angry when I did that. Yeah. Whereas, now you can see like, she's really stressed or she's really worried. Yeah. Because those are the type of things that don't go away with life. Yeah. If you've got a really stressful job, you just get better at managing the stress, but that stress doesn't go away. The stress
doesn't go away. No,
and the signs when you know the person are pretty much still there.
You become, that's actually quite weird. It's you just become better at managing that stress. It's actually so true.
Or just showing it to people.
Showing it later. Yeah. Yo, dude. And what's weird for me about stress is that South Africans all over the world are loved because we're such hard workers. Because you go to, so my friend, she's in London and she goes to Soho or whatever, and then she's like, oh, listen, I'm just going to pop into work and get my laptop. She goes into work, gets her laptop, goes home. On Monday, HR calls her in and says, can you please apply for leave for this day? She's like, why? It's like, no, because you came into work in the office and you need to put leave in for that because she's like, I just came to get my laptop. She's like, no, we're going to give you a day's leave for that because we don't want to. I'm like,
yeah.
In South Africa, nobody cares.
Yeah, South Africa is like, sorry, we're taking away your leave.
Yeah.
You can work on Christmas Day.
But it's so weird, bro. It's like, it's very strange that this is happening. People are just like, I think maybe it's because we live in such a volatile country, and we are so used to managing. Like, the roads don't work, this doesn't work, that, water shortage, electricity. We just carry on. We are very resilient people. Yeah. So when we go, like when you go to London and there's public transport and things, the lights on, and I find it fascinating. I'm like, oh, these are so soft.
This is what aliens are doing. This is the future. The weird South Africa, like You've got the homeless guiding the people in the roads.
Yeah, in the roads. Yeah.
Which is awesome to see at least.
And you got the homeless guy that's collecting all that like littering, whatever. I mean, it's fascinating. Yeah, no, dude.
I think it's, as the Africans, we are so used to, if you don't work, you're not going to make it, because if this job you don't succeed in this job, there's nothing else for you.
Yeah.
Whereas in America or England or wherever in Europe, it's, do your work. If you get fired somehow, whatever, you're going to be able to find another job.
Yeah.
You're an accountant, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, whatever. There's other opportunities. Whereas in South Africa, it's like, this is your one opportunity. Make it work.
Yeah, to make it work. Make it work. But I don't know why everyone is so. Like it sounds like I'm looking for an easy way out, but I find that we are pushing people to death. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe in hard work. You gotta grind, you gotta do it, you gotta work hard. I find that, but Monday to Friday, cool. Like, dude, I work now in a company and I love, my boss is amazing, but the other partner, she wants us always to be working all the time. If like on the weekend she's probably wondering why we're not working. It's fine. I find it fascinating. I find it so weird, but it's strange for me. Like so sometimes what'll happen is Oaks will leave at 5, and then some Oaks will be working late, some working late, whatever, and then she'll phone the one person in the office and ask who's still there. And then I'm like, why does she do this? She wants to know who's working late. So I'm like, but sometimes I take my...
Still working, I'm just at home.
Yeah, but I'm working at home. She's like, so she doesn't know that. So what does that count against me? I'm like, that's a bit rude. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah. But like, why do you want that though? Surely it should be, has the job been finished? Yeah, cool. Then there's no problem. Yeah. Dude, I don't care when you do the work. As long as it's done on deadline, then that's cool. For me, that's the mentality.
I think it's tough because social media has definitely glorified entrepreneurs and working and overworking. Yeah. Social media has definitely done that. And I read an interesting quote the other day, or two interesting stories. So the one was, you don't want to overwork. That's what horses die from. Okay. You don't want to your whole life just be working and working and working and working, and then you die. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, life means different things to different people. Yeah. If your true passion, if you absolutely love, if your equivalent to me going and doing a run is sitting in the office and working, then do that. Like if it's your true calling and you feel absolute
you wake up,
then do that. But and I've had to kind of learn to take a step back sometimes from work, because you get caught up in it. It's easy to replace problems with work problems. It's easy to just work yourself to death and focus on that because it's relatively manageable and you can control it. Yeah. But there's problems to be dealt with the same way you can be addicted to drugs. You can be addicted to work. Yeah. And I found myself at times in my life recently addicted to work. Yeah. And overworking and working too hard. And then it just doesn't make you, for me at least, it didn't make me the best version of myself.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't make you happy either.
It doesn't make you happy. Yeah. And the other quote was also, so the first one is obviously just like, don't overwork yourself to death. Yeah. The second one was Rick Rubin. He was talking about not everyone's work is going to be their meaning of life. Not everyone's purpose in life is to do their job or whatever. Them working and doing their job could just facilitate their calling and their purpose. For me, working could just be a means of making enough money so that I can travel and go do trail runs. And because I know absolutely I love running way more than I love making money. So
same as me. Like if I could run every day.
Like for me,
like I want to run on each continent. That's what I want to do.
I've got a friend whose dad did a marathon on every single continent in the world.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. So for me, I said to my wife, I was like, I want to run. So I'll do like Berlin, you do like Boston or New York. Do
the one on the Great Wall of China.
Oh, bro. Yes, but that must be hell getting up those stairs, bro. Yeah.
He even did one in Antarctica.
That must be hectic.
Yeah,
bro.
Crazy.
Yeah, that must be hectic because that's cold.
Yeah.
Like, I ran through winter at 5 in. Yeah. There were
cold,
days. There were days where my fingers. You know that day that it snowed here?
Yeah.
I ran on that day.
Cold. That was a cold. So
I do you run with gloves?
Yeah.
When
if I run in winter, probably like any time before 9. I'm running with gloves.
Yeah. No, because I'm one of those people. I don't like cold.
No,
I'm a summer guy, bro. So like if I'm the only when Eminem came, so if we're at a party and it rains and we can't, and it's outside, I go home.
Yeah.
Eminem is the only person that I stood in the rain for because I liked him that much. I was like, cool. And I watched and it was great and it was worth it. But like, I don't like being wet. So like, so that run, that snow day run. And I'd already gotten dressed. And as I ran out, it started. And I was like, what is this? And you could just feel the chill, bro. Woo, but that great. Yeah, I want to. But you used to.
That's a great goal to have, though.
Yeah, you used to compete.
Yeah, bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Did you won the WBA? What's that?
WBFF.
Did you win that?
Yeah, in 2015, I think.
That's when I saw you. I think I saw you on Instagram, and then I saw you. I was like, why does this guy look familiar? And then I was like, oh shit, you gym at my gym.
Yes.
Then I saw you at the gym. But now you must have lost a lot of weight since then.
Yeah.
Because you were big then, eh?
Yeah, then I was probably like, okay, well then I was smaller, but in my biggest with competing, I was 95-ish. Well, my heaviest I've ever been was 100, but I was bulking and I was, in my terms, fat, you know?
Yeah.
But my heaviest when I had a nice percent body fat that I was happy with was about 94.
How much percent body fat? Like
I was probably like 8. No, on stage I was about 89. So at my leanest, my heaviest was 89-ish.
Yeah.
But now, let's say 94. Now I'm about 82. So I've lost about 12, 13 kilograms from running. And all of it's muscle.
All of it's muscle. But how do you, I saw you post the other day that you take something so you don't lose your muscle when you run. What is that? It's called Cyto.
It was mainly marketing for the brand.
No,
but it definitely is helpful.
But I want to know.
So it's an HMB product and I don't have enough information. I have to send you the product name afterwards. Yeah. But it is for, improving recovery, helping your body, just make use of all the nutrients in its body to help you recover. And then the drink was actually a creatine drink as well.
Oh, okay.
So this one, you actually take it before the workout, like 15, 20 minutes before the workout. And then it's got like the creatine transfer system, whatever, that obviously transfer through your body throughout the workout.
Yeah.
So you have like a sustained release of the creatine.
Throughout,
because essentially we all have creatine in our bodies naturally. Yeah. And when you're training, it obviously gets used up.
Yeah.
So that's why we take the creatine product, is to basically keep on going.
Yeah, okay.
To keep on going so that you don't essentially run out.
Yeah, because the creatine helps you kind of push and then you burn all of that push out and then you're adding more in. Yeah.
So that's essentially all it is helping you go for longer. The same way whey protein is just helping you get in more protein. So like all of these things are supplements because they supplement everything else. They just add it to it.
They just add it to it, But now tell me something. So now, how did you get into the running though?
I did a boxing match.
A real boxing match?
A white collar boxing match.
What is white collar? What does that mean? Like blue collar is like the
white collar is you wear the headgear.
Oh, okay.
And it has to be like one of your first fights.
Okay.
So it's a proper fight.
Yeah.
Everything's proper. The same way, Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis just had last night.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same as that. It's just you wear headgear.
Yeah.
And it's your first fight. Okay. So they put you against opponent that is like your first fight.
So they both the first fight. So you and the guy.
Yeah.
And how did you do?
You see, there's no winner unless someone gets knocked out, and you can clearly see a visible winner.
Okay.
So they just raise both your hands, like, "Well done, guys! You've done something difficult."
Oh, that's quite cool.
So it's nice, and we were relatively evenly matched. It's actually on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, just send it to me. I want to watch it.
I hate watching it because I only had 12 weeks of prep.
Jeez, dude, would you not?
I did like 2 group boxing classes.
Yeah.
And then the coach, he's a professional boxer. I went to school with him. He said, "There's a white collar boxing match in 12 weeks. Do you want to do the fight?" And I was like, "Rowan, bro, you know that I've done 1 group class and I was the only male in this group class. So it's not like it was, some boxing course class or whatever." And I had 0 boxing experience. Like, yes, maybe hit a bag once or twice. I'd never been in a fight, personal fight in my life. I'd never been hit other than like maybe an elbow in a rugby game or whatever. But this was my first proper exposure into anything actually boxing. So then I did that because I was just bored of competing. So that's what got me into the change from competing is the fight.
Yeah.
And then I injured my shoulder in the training leading up and then the fight. So I injured my rotator cuff.
Okay.
So then I couldn't really do like chest or shoulders and stuff at gym anymore because my shoulder was sore and I was going through like a little bit of a rehab process. And then my dad's always been big into cycling.
Okay.
So then I just bought a bicycle. I'm like, oh, I can't gym as much. I can train like legs and maybe abs and stuff. So let me start cycling until my shoulder's fully healed. Natural progression. When you start cycling, you chat to cyclists, you see runners, and then it just progresses into running.
Dude, I will tell you this now. I will run 90 kilometers before I cycle 90.
Why?
That seat? No, my bro. No. No bum cheeks must feel like that. Yo. Dude, so like, but the thing about it is, I think I love running. Like,
running
me and you both are like, if you're watching this and you're going like, if you're stressed and you're going through depression or you're anxious about life, running is one of those things. It sets it up that your mind, it clears out everything. If you're looking to solve a problem, you will do that on a run. If you like, so I design. So my hardest part is looking to create something that's new. Now, if you go onto the internet, what's new? Nothing. Everything has been designed, created. Designing something new that is beautiful is so hard. And you got to find a unique way to do it. And then there's stuff that the client doesn't like, whatever. 98% of the time, I've solved my design or look and feel or creation or come up with a new design on a run. 90%.
I don't think people understand the benefit of you
running.
know, people look at the runner's high.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Obviously the endorphins and everything after the workout.
Yeah.
But the clarity, as you mentioned, the mental clarity, the thought processes, the actually just being present while you're running.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. You can have singular thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, you can deal with that issue with the client. And
Yeah.
you just get into that flow state. I had a run yesterday and it was the quickest 2 hours, 52 minutes or whatever. It just felt so quick because I was in like this flow state. It was awesome. It was so nice to just be in this where thoughts were just flowing in my head.
Yeah.
You know, I was just in nature. I was getting fresh air. I was exercising. My heart rate was relatively low.
Yeah.
And it was just such an awesome flow state where, you know, that 30K run just helped me be more positive. It helped me be more happy. It helped me be more present.
Dude, it is. It's for me, if I don't go training or running in the morning, so gym is the second thing. I would go gym if I can't run.
Yeah.
But if I run and if I'm having if I'm going through a difficult time, and my wife sometimes is like, but you're so tired. I'm like,